Ika-34 nga session han Sangguniang Panlungsod Siyudad iton Borongan, Abril 24, 2020.
Our 34th regular session is now called to order. Let us all stand for the prayer. The Honorable SK Federated President, kindly lead the prayer.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, we thank you for the gift of life, of good health, and peace that we have enjoyed for so many years. As we find ourselves in this time of crisis today, we ask for your divine intervention and mercy to be upon each of us. Lord, we also pray for the healthcare workers that are standing in front line of this battle. Lord, we thank you for their hearts of service, putting the needs of society before their own, generously responding to the cry of your people. We ask that you will grant them strength and protection as they give of themselves in selfless service. May you fill them with your Holy Spirit as they work to be your healing hands and feet. Lord, we also surrender to you all those who have been afflicted with the virus. Grant them your healing grace, merciful Father, so that they may recover swiftly and continue to be witnesses of your love and their lives. Cover each of us with your blue mantle of protection so that we may be preserved in good health to continue to glorify your Son, Jesus Christ. We make this prayer through Christ, our Savior and Redeemer. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I'm very sorry. I would like to apologize to the members of my committee with respect to the suspension of our committee meeting yesterday with respect to this proposed ordinance because of an urgent matter that we discussed at the provincial level with respect to the as to the matter of extending the community quarantine in the province of Eastern Samar. And I would like to inform this august body, it was the consensus of the local mayors that despite our proposal that it only be extended until May 15 without prejudice of extending, provided the circumstances so warrant. So now the general community quarantine in the province is now extended to May 30. I don't know if the city mayor and the Sangguniang will propose, and the committee chair will propose to the city mayor, considering that she is a member of the IETF, local IETF, for this similar extension. However, on the other hand, Mr. Presiding Officer, considering that the matter has already been, the proposed ordinance entitled Dokwag Agricultura for short, has been referred to the committee level for consideration, I would like to first approve this on first reading. Because once the matter is referred to the committee level, it is supposed to be for second reading. Because no matters, no ordinance, proposal shall be considered at the plenary without first a report from the committee level. So in that regards, I would like to move for the approval of this proposed ordinance. In short, the Dokwag Agricultura on first reading. I so move, Mr. Presiding Officer. Any second? Any objections? None. So the proposed ordinance of the Honorable Suyut is hereby approved and referred to the Committee on Agriculture. So the Honorable Daza.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Under letter Q of status report, Memorandum number JIDCA 003-0320 dated March 30 regarding the endorsement of verified complaint against Sara Basilia and Cyrilla Factor for grave misconduct. I already received a copy of their answer. However, upon reading their answer, there is a lacking document, which is the verification, because under Section 62 of the Local Government Code, the respondent shall submit a verified answer.
A
The
point of
ans-
order, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Yes,
I would
Mr.
like to
Point of Order,
clarify that Chair Committee on Rules, whether or not this plenary has already approved the ordinance on administrative investigation. Because that will be the basis for the conduct of the investigation at the committee level and by the plenary.
Yeah.
The
The Honorable Daza?
The ordinance is under still for committee report, for committee meeting. We have not yet approved such matter, but there's under the local government code, we can conduct hearing.
Yeah, actually one of the provisions in the local government code is that the Sangguniang can investigate the barangay officials. So
Yes, but there should be rules of procedure
Yes,
as how you will investigate.
Yes,
and
of
that rules of procedure will be stipulated or provided under that ordinance.
With respect to the August
Madam
body, if everyone is willing, I am willing to conduct a committee meeting right after the committee meeting of Honorable Suyot.
yeah, just
Let's go back to the
just go ahead with your
answer.
report.
I therefore move that we return this answer back to Honorable.
Honorable Presiding
Yes,
Officer,
go ahead,
can I request for a 5-minute recess?
Okay, 5-minute recess. Session resumed. Yes, go ahead, Honorable Daza.
Yes po, I believe that we cannot take cognizance of this matter yet unless upon the approval of the ordinance of the administrative investigation.
Okay, so we refer this back. Yes, go
Honorable
ahead,
Presiding
Honorable,
Officer, just a
Mator.
clarification. The Sangguniang Panlungsod can take cognizance of the case, but this matter will be pending the approval of our internal administrative rules on how we will go about this matter.
Okay, so we refer this back to the Committee on Laws and Rules.
I submit that the proposed ordinance be approved on first, either second. What is the status of that proposed ordinance?
First reading, it was already referred to the committee.
First reading.
Yes. Okay, so any more updates from the different committees? None? So next item, Mr. Secretary.
Okay, we now move on to committee report. Joint Committee, Social Welfare and Barangay Affairs regarding a resolution authorizing the City Mayor to enter into a MOA with a community-based monitoring system, DILG, through the Bureau of Local Government Development for the proposed establishment and implementation of the community-based monitoring system in Borongan City.
So the committee chairs on Social Welfare and Barangay Affairs, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer. May I read my committee report to the body regarding the resolution authorizing the local chief executive, Honorable Mayor Jose Ivan Dayan C. Agda, to enter into memorandum of agreement with the community-based monitoring system, or the CBMS network team, Department of the Interior and Local Government, through the Bureau of Local Government Development and Department of the Interior and Local Government, Regional Office 8, for the proposed establishment and implementation of the community-based monitoring system in the city of Borongan, province of Eastern Samar. So that a committee meeting was held on April 17, 2020 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, attended by the chairman, vice chairman, and its members of the Social Welfare Committee, together with a representative from the City Planning and Development Office, Mr. Jose Giovanni M. Mercado. That the parties on the Memorandum of Agreement are the Community-Based Monitoring System Network Team, the DILG through the BLGD, the DILG Regional Office 8, and the Local Chief Executive, Honorable Mayor Jose Ivan Dayan C. Agda. That the City Planning and Development Office request for technical assistance from the CBMS Network Team on the establishment and implementation of the community-based monitoring system as a planning and monitoring tool at the city and barangay levels in Borongan City. That the CBMS is an effective tool for poverty diagnosis local planning and program implementation and monitoring the Millennium Development Goals in the Philippines. That through the use of CBMS, the said system can generate baseline data and information necessary for the effective planning, budgeting, and implementation of various programs, projects, and activities of the city government. That the CBMS can provide the city policymakers with the necessary information for the tracking of economic reforms and impact of the policies. That the City Planning Development Office shall spearhead the logistical arrangements for the conduct of corresponding CBMS-related meetings and training workshops in the city. That a technical working group, preferably department heads, will be organized by the CPDO to oversee the progress of the implementation of CBMS, and at least 2 permanent or regular from the CBMS Technical Working Group will be tapped as lead trainers or resource persons for CBMS training workshops. That questionnaires will be distributed per household for data gathering, and aside from those questionnaires, rider questionnaires can be included in case of some data needed by a sector does give result from the questionnaires per household. That an amount of 1,962,698.50 pesos based on the work and financial plan from the CPDO will be allocated for the CBMS implementation. The amount includes costs such as but not limited to expenses for the conduct of training workshops, data collection, field survey operations, data processing or database management, data validation, data dissemination. That after the discussion in relation to the request of the City Planning and Development Office, the committee decided to have the resolution authorizing the local chief executive, Honorable Mayor Jose Ivan Dayan C. Agda, to enter into memorandum of agreement with the community-based monitoring system network team, Department of the Interior and Local Government through the Bureau of Local Government Development, and Department of the Interior and Local Government Regional Office Number 8 for the proposed establishment and implementation of the community-based monitoring system in the city of Borongan, province of Eastern Samar. With no other matters to discuss, the Joint Committee adjourned at 3:30 in the afternoon. Honorable Presiding Officer, I submit my committee report to the body for
Second reading. Deliberation.
deliberation.
Regarding the budget, during our meeting, it was stated there, itemized kung ano ang pagkakagastusan hininga 1.9. And according to Mr. Mercado, it was patterned national nga parang budget financial plan nira. So, dire po ini lump sum actually nga budget proposed budget. And then, regarding additional personnel, I actually suggested to Mr. Mercado to add permanent personnel, and then, because they will be needing more employees for data gathering. According to him, may nira mga permanent employees that will handle this, spearhead this, and then, ang iba, syempre, kay damo man kita nga barangay, damo nga kaulangan nga personnel. So, magtatap kitahan atan mga JOs, and then, iti-train nira.
Okay, Honorable Suyot.
Thank you very much. I agree that it should not be handled by a casual employee because a casual employee is not an accountable person. It should be a permanent employee that is an accountable person, so that if something happens, for example, there is a data privacy violation, at least we know whom to go after. Kasi may accountable man hera.
Yes, go ahead, Honorable Sir.
It will be spearheaded nga by the permanent employee, and then as yung mga casuals, they will just be assisting.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Honorable Cainday.
I cannot help but be concerned with this kay although I didn't recognize ko urgency hinga matter kay kailangan talaga and the importance of this CBMS din niya aton. But I think before we delve into this kind of project nga maaram kita makaka-epektuha aton hin maupay, kailangan upayan ta nila, yan na pala hitikang. And I share the concern of Honorable Aragon, even the Sangguniang, the whole body, I know concerned kitahin nga when it comes to the JOs. Aside from, we are wasting the money of the government because we will be training individuals nga diri man permanente, di ba? After that, wala na. Pag wala na nila memo, sayang naging training ta, we will need to train again and kuan. So, parang I think before kita mag-enter in, we make sure that we have permanent employees in place. And I beg to disagree with our honorable lady, Dr. Sadak, that even if they will just be assigned a casual employees, I think dapat diri kasi they will be handling sensitive personal information. Our GOs, we do not really have a requirement as to their qualification. They should know how important and how sensitive the data that they are gathering. They will go into our houses and ask us information nga importante. How will I be able as a citizen of Borongan nga makakampante nga iyan gagamiton only for legal purposes kung wala ni accountability, di ba? So I think it is sa akin I agree with the recommendation of honorable of our chairman and vice chairman on social welfare. But our resolution should clearly state there nga kailangan may datalaan in place nga maupay nga planning dinhi nga with permanent employees. We have people who are accountable nga makadto didto nga magagather nga data itawo nga maaram kung gaano ka importante ira gid kakaptan niya nga responsibility. Parang I am okay with approving this, but we should have those proviso nga to make sure that we are also telling them that this MOA is actually it's not parang direct enough because it does not secure the LGU and the citizens, our constituents here in Borongan. Kaya direct kita atan din itawo, direct pa eksakto.
Okay, Honorable Limbauan.
Noted, Madam Floor Leader.
Okay, Honorable Suyot,
Thank you very much.
last na.
I understand the apprehension of the floor leader with respect to possible. It's just a possible. We are just speculating that there might be violation of data privacy Act. But you have to understand that just like the Census, Philippine Statistics Office, the one that conducts the data gathering are actually contractual employees. They are just contractual employees to go around sa providing questionnaires to households and asking questions, collecting data. These are contractual workers. However, just like in a government agency, the local government unit likewise lack this kind of manpower resource. So for the time being that we have only casuals who are technically savvy with respect to this handling of computers, we have to maintain this one kind of manpower. But however, the responsibility lies with the head. It should be the head of office that should have control over everything in his office. So that any violation thereof with respect to, for example, may data na higuas, so waray habaram, that should be his responsibility.
Okay, the Honorable Limbauan. Honorable Cainday.
So kasi ako parang I just want to make a point nga ako ito nihira nga casual nga dida. Parang if we just make the head responsible, how will you even parang control the information? Even if you, bisa pati may pereso it head, kung ito nga tao, spread natin information, daman na kuwan. Kung bagat repercussions it dida, it's sobra-sobra na. So, ako, I want, although syempre I submit syempre karagit body, but I want our LGU to be prudent enough nga we make bisan na kon OA, bisan na kung parang diri naman kailangan, but wala man mawawara ka atin, di ba? If we only make sure nga in place na anit atin tao, nga we have accountable people who knows. Kasi sometimes, kita, we take for granted at mga informasyon. Ako, I don't take it for granted because ako as a lawyer, kung makakuha ka ngaran, makakuha ka mo kung anong informasyon, I can do that to enter into some legal transaction. So, kailangan maging kuan kita parang kailangan medyo maging OA kita in handling this sensitive information, lalo na dili ka kinakita ko nga key indicators, medyo personal good, and we want riders pa nga ibubutang dida. So, di ba, parang yan na pala, i-safeguard na before we start collecting data. But I submit of course to the opinion of the body since we work as one and not only as one person.
Just one manifestation.
Yes, go ahead.
Just one manifestation. I likewise subscribe that it should be correctly handled, and that there should be no slippage with respect to to those information. But however, we have safeguard in place, just like the data privacy law, so that anybody who will violate the data privacy will be charged in court and be held criminally liable. If he is an employee, he can be held administratively, civilly, and criminally liable. So we have safeguard in place. We have a lot of weapons, as I said a while ago, at our disposal. Pwede tayo pagla natin. Itaton lang, kung may data na ito, kasi importante.
Yes. Anyway, yes, go ahead, Honorable Lani Anacta.
Yes,
Secretary,
just a
President.
clarificatory question to Honorable Limbauan. As you mentioned earlier, we'll be just sending our informations to the region of the DSWD. So that means they will be using another system, cloud.
Parang,
Yes.
parang cloud hiya nga.
And with that, if in case we will be having our own database, we will be having another separate different
System, kailangan.
system. But we can also access the cloud.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, last, the Honorable Daza.
Yes po.
So we can move on.
If I am not mistaken po, according to Mr. Mercado, they will be using the tablet for data gathering, not the papers na po. So directly na po itira inputs, tidak na po tablets, tapos sending na po diretso. So medyo secure the data compared with papers na po.
Yeah, the Chair would just like also to clarify, if you're going to use the tablet, so pag magamit kita yung tablet, may danahit nira app, di ba? So if you're going to include some carriers, kaya ba liuto nit ira app nga makuha nit atin karoyan?
Dapat before they collect data, final na nira questionnaires. Kaya siguro upon interviewing the person, masasad na may largo nga hit cloud. So I
Yeah.
cannot assure you na pwede ta pa ma-edit kung itong data nga aton masasend. But kay since it's internet based ba kay masad malhin cloud, siguro mas madali namang galit siguro pag edit. If ever man may corrections.
Yeah, pwede tunggan.
Dito. Asa na, di ba? Kailangan talahin, kung magkukanyara, maadla kitan mga riders.
Yeah, pwede ba
Pwede,
edit an error app? Okay, that's good. Yes,
Mr.
guys,
Presiding
I'm sorry
Officer.
for the last time. Yeah, go ahead.
Although I would like to manifest to this august body, although we are already in the 21st century, that we mostly rely on the high technology, but we have to, these are data. We have to secure our data. So we should not only rely with the with the new technology, but likewise we should have hard copies collected and stored at a secure facility, a secure office within the city. Para in kaso may mahack, mag-back down ito na system, may talaga have the data. Di mawawala.
Okay, sige. The Honorable Chair on social welfare approval na.
I thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer. I move that we pass and approve the resolution authorizing the local chief executive, Honorable Mayor Jose Ivan Dayan C. Agda, to enter into memorandum of agreement with the community-based monitoring system network team, Department of the Interior and Local Government through the Bureau of Local Government Development and Department of the Interior and Local Government Regional Office number 8 for the proposed establishment and implementation of the community-based monitoring system in the city of Borongan, province of Eastern Samar, with the amendments as suggested by the August body.
Any objections? Further discussions? There being none, so the resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter into MOA with the community-based monitoring system, the ILG, through the Bureau of Local Government Development for the proposed establishment and implementation of the community-based monitoring system in Borongan City is hereby approved. So next item, Mr. Secretary.
Joint Committee Report, Disaster and Finance regarding the Memorandum of Agreement between the CLG Borongan and 8th Infantry Division, Philippine Army.
So the committee chair on disaster and finance, you have the floor.
Honorable Presiding Officer, we had a committee meeting yesterday together with our budget officer. The memorandum of agreement had been submitted to us by the executive office during our last session, and this contains provisions on the additional Citizens Armed Forces Geographical Unit Active Auxiliary Company that the city government will hire. Based on our discussions, the memorandum of agreement seems sufficient, only that there were several monetary obligations which already exceeded the budgetary amount which we had approved during the first quarter of this year. So, based on this memorandum of agreement, the Committee on Finance and the Committee on Disaster, chaired by Honorable Bagakay, move or recommends to the body to give a resolution to giving the mayor an authority to enter into the memorandum of agreement with the 8th Infantry Division, Philippine Army, Armed Forces of the Philippines, represented by Major General Pio Dinyoso III, provided that the obligatory amount that the city government will incur will only be within what we had approved, which is 10,614,000 based on the TOPS plan. So I submit my report to the body for consideration.
Okay, so what's the pleasure of the body? Any questions? Further suggestions? Yes, Honorable
What is the
Sued.
recommendation of the chair?
The recommendation is to pass and approve a resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter into a MOA with our AFP, but within the budget as approved in our PAPS plan.
Seconded.
Propapag mo. Yes, Honorable Cainday.
Recommendation of the chair.
Approve. Any objections? None? So, resolution authorizing the city mayor to... Yes, go ahead, Honorable Cainday.
So, Honorable Presiding Officer, since there are no more discussions from this August body, I move that we pass and approve a resolution authorizing our city mayor, Honorable Jose Ivan Dayan C. Agda, to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the 8th Infantry Division, the Philippine Army, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, to activate one Citizens Armed Forces Geographical Unit Active Auxiliary Company 2 in Eastern Samar to secure the conflicted areas within our approved budget in the PAPS plan for 2020.
Any objections? Further discussion? Just go ahead, Honorable Arag.
The resolution. I always stated it to be 8th Infantry Division. Barubalyo, tira. Why not just one in armed forces assigned to the area?
Okay. That
In
is
fact,
noted.
now, the 8th Infantry Division is out of Eastern Samar. Minaliong katan iba. Di man, might go to Leyte or what, if it is stated that it is 8th Infantry Division.
Yes, that's correct.
However, whatever company, whatever armed forces assigned yan niya.
Not specifically this
Yeah,
division.
not specifically 8th Infantry.
Okay, that is noted, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Okay, so any objections? None? So the resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter into memorandum of agreement between the Philippine Army and the LGU Borongan is hereby approved. So next item, Mr. Secretary.
Committee on Finance regarding the 2021 annual budget of Barangay H, Tamada, and Dyvw.
So the committee chair on finance.
Honorable Presiding Officer, a committee meeting was held yesterday, April 23, 2020, with the members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod Committee on Finance present and other SP members, together with our city budget office, wherein we discussed the barangay budget submitted by Barangay Kamada for its 2019 annual budget and Barangay H 2020 annual budget and Barangay Dyvw 2020 annual budget. Pursuant to Section 333 of the Local Government Code, this barangay budgets should be submitted to the Sangguniang Panlungsod through the City Budget Officer, wherein the Sangguniang Panlungsod has the power to review such ordinance. Based on the review, it was found out that the above-mentioned barangay budgets has complied with the requirements under the law, such as that the aggregate amount appropriated did not exceed the estimate of the income. The amount of appropriations for debt servicing did not exceed 20% of the regular income. The 5% Barangay Disaster Risk Reduction Management Fund was accounted for. There is a gender and development plan of at least 5% of the total annual budget. There was a 10% budget for the Sangguniang Kabataan. It has complied with all the mandated budgetary forms, the budget authorization forms, the budget execution forms, accountability forms, and other budgetary requirements under the law. With this, the City Budget Officer has also certified that this barangay budgets, which was submitted to her office, has showed substantial compliance with the law. The committee hereby recommends for the approval of the barangay annual budget of Barangay
Kamada and Dyvw.
Kamada for the 2019 budget and Barangay H and Dyvw for the 2020 budget. I submit my report to the committee, to the body for consideration.
What is the pleasure of the body? Any?
So I move for
the Cainday?
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that...
Honorable ABC President, you were
I
before we
second-
approve.
I second the motion.
Okay,
Yung
okay
honorable
na.
I withdraw my second motion.
Any objections? There being none, so the proposed budget of Barangay H, Kamada, and Dyvw is hereby approved. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Joint Committee, Environment and Finance regarding the supplemental appropriation of 4,175,625 for executive services and other MOO.
So the committee chair on finance and environment, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. We conducted a joint committee meeting yesterday at the session hall at about 1:30 p.m. And upon the inquiry of the members of the committees to the City Budget Officer, it was found out that the said amount is needed to top up the increased rate of wages of casual employees of the Executive Department and Solid Waste Department. With no other matters to discuss, the committee hereby recommends to pass and approve an ordinance reverting to the general fund the amount of 4,175,625 pesos from the unused funds for personal services and field positions in the Executive Department for the month of January to March 2020 and consequently appropriating the entire sum to be made available as fund for executive services, environment and sanitary services and other MOOV to be utilized for various purposes. I therefore submit my committee report to the August bodies for consideration.
Yes, Honorable Cainday.
In addition to the information of our Chairman and Committee on Environment, it is also worth taking into consideration that upon inquiry with our budget officer, we were informed that this budget allocation is made necessary because our casual rates in the executive department had already been increased. That's why they're asking for an additional executive services budget and for our solid waste services.
So the chair was just to clarify if there was
Application.
certification from the budget.
No formal certification yet, but we are expecting that there should be a certification from this. I think in the executive budget, diba? When they set it,
There was no attachment.
no attachment. So
You think kaka-approve yun for a certification because we're not kita sigurado kung may available in yung budget. 5-minute recess. Okay, session resumed. The committee chair on environment.
I therefore move to pass and approve an ordinance reverting to the general fund the amount of 4,175,625 pesos from the unused funds for the personal services and field positions in the Executive Department for the month of January to March 2020 and consequently appropriating the entire sum to be made available as fund for executive services, environment and sanitary services and other MOOE to be utilized for various purposes as follow. Executive services, 1 million pesos. Environment and sanitary services, 3 million pesos. Other MOOEs, 175,625.
Seconded.
Any objections? There being none, so the motion of Honorable Daza is hereby approved. Hindi na kami matrikos niya ini.
Ano?
Tawag ka, Engineer Lagda. Yun, Honorable.
Kayo na kung ano yung...
Hindi,
Last
sir.
na Richard eh. Para yun na to.
Sige.
Last na nga ordinance.
Okay, so next item, Mr. Sultan.
Okay, we now move on to the proposed ordinance on second reading. We have an ordinance institutionalizing the grant of tax incentives to business establishments in the city of Borongan during public emergencies.
The committee chair on finance.
Honorable Presiding Officer, yesterday on April 23, the committee held a meeting together with the other Sangguniang Panlungsod members who were present to discuss about the business tax incentive supposedly to be given to our businessmen, and then this has evolved into a tax incentive which will not only benefit our businessmen but our taxpayers in general. So during the meeting, there was the attendees were our city treasurer officer, Mr. Joey Seso, our department heads, OAC department heads in our economic enterprises, Ms. Jacqueline Gayoso and Mr. Mark Cortado, together with our assessor, Sir Tang. And we came up with two different recommendations. The first one being an ordinance recommending granting a tax payment deadline extension for our taxpayers during this COVID-19 pandemic, and another ordinance institutionalizing the granting of tax payment deadline extension during public emergencies similar to COVID-19 pandemic. So I would like to read for the body to consider this ordinances that has been like the recommendation of this committee. So the first one is an ordinance granting tax payment deadline extension in the city of Borongan during this COVID-19 pandemic. So, whereas the Presidential Proclamation number 922 series of 2020 was issued declaring a state of public health emergency throughout the Philippines due to the coronavirus disease. Whereas a series of executive orders were implemented by City Mayor Ivan Agda, placing the entire Borongan city under modified enhanced community quarantine, thereby severely disrupting the economic activities in the city. Whereas there is this serious threat to the health and lives of the people adversely affected their means of livelihood, causing loss of opportunity to earn and incurrence of additional expenses to prepare and be protected against this pandemic. Whereas the city of Borongan recognizes the need to relieve and ease the burden of its taxpayers by ensuring that they will still be able to fulfill their patriotic duty of filing and paying their taxes and other obligatory fees without any risk to their health and safety, and taking into consideration the severe disruption of economic activities. So Section 1, the short title is Borongan City Tax Payment Deadline Extension during COVID-19 pandemic. Section 2, the deadline of payment of the following local taxes, fees, and charges are extended as follows. This, Honorable Presiding Officer, would like to note it's only a special ordinance which is applicable only during this COVID pandemic. So for real property tax, the original deadline, for annual payments, the original deadline of which was March 31, 2020, there's an extended payment deadline up to May 15, 2020. And then for quarterly payments, for the first quarter, March 31, 2020, the extended deadline is up to June 30, 2020. And then for the second quarter deadline, June 30, 2020, during the committee meetings, we agreed that 50% of this cost will be paid on September 30, 2020, and the other 50% will be paid on December 31, 2020. For business taxes, the semi-annual payment, which was due April 20, 2020, the extended payment deadline will be on July 20. For quarterly, April 20 deadline will be on July 20 deadline. The July 20 deadline is extended up to September 20 deadline, and the October 20 deadline is extended up to November 20 deadline. And then lastly, for rentals or space occupancies in our economic enterprises, the monthly rentals due on April 20 and May 20 is no longer obligatory to be paid during such due date. However, any unpaid rent for both or either of these months, it shall be paid and equally divided monthly starting June until December 2020. There is also a waiver of surcharges, interest, and other penalties during the extended deadline of payment, and the discounts originally imposed or other benefits for prompt payment of these local taxes is still applicable. So this is I move firstly for this first recommendation. I submit to the honorable body for discussion and second reading.
Okay, so what's the pleasure of the body? The Honorable Suyot.
I would like to approve first this proposal on first reading. I would like to second the motion for the approval on first reading of this proposed ordinance. I would like to clarify, this is a very good ordinance. I would like to clarify whether or not all local taxes in the city of Borongan were extended under this proposed ordinance.
Honorable Presiding Officer,
All local taxes.
based on the discussions with our treasurer, these are all the local taxes that are due during April and May 2020. And I failed to tell you that this special ordinance, of course, since it's only applicable now, may also be superseded by another declaration by the Sangguniang upon our evaluation after this pandemic, kung mahatag kita hairahin further discounts or waiver, because this is only an extension. We will have still to after this everything pag di na nakata-lockdown, everything's back to normal, the Sangguniang would assess if we need to forgo some of these payments that they had made or in order to ease their burden depending on the gravity of the adverse effect hard disruption at an economic activities.
Yes,
Thank you very much for that information. Actually, I asked the question because at the provincial level, we already passed an ordinance extending the payment of taxes, all local taxes, within the jurisdiction of the province. And I am very happy that we have a counterpart ordinance at the city level. So I would like to suggest to the proponent to expedite the approval of this ordinance so that this will...
So what are go?
Okay, so
Sige na.
any other comments? Suggestions? None? So the Committee Chair on Finance?
Honorable Presiding Officer, I
Reading
move
na yan.
that we pass and approve on second reading this ordinance on first and second reading. And
Second na kanina, first, second na.
Seconded.
Any objections? None? So the proposed ordinance is hereby approved on second reading.
Honorable Presiding Officer, since there's an urgency in passing this ordinance, I also move that we approve on third and final reading this ordinance, granting tax exemption, extensions in the payments during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Any objections? None? So, any further discussions? None? So the proposed resolution extending the deadline of our tax payments is hereby approved on third and final reading.
May napasa.
Yes, go ahead, Honorable Cainday.
And the last recommendation of the body during the meeting is, of course, in recognition of the fact that other public emergencies may happen again in the city of Borongan, wherein itatanda naman economic activities madi-disrupt, magkakamayroon na naman loss of opportunity to earn or hit atin mga income. So the body has agreed that we will also pass and approve The body recommended that we also pass and approve an ordinance institutionalizing the grant of tax payment deadline extension during public emergencies which adversely affects the economic activities of the city of Borongan. Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to read the relevant provisions.
Yes,
So, the short title, this will be known as the Borongan City Tax Payment Deadline Extension Ordinance. So, Section 3, the statutory deadlines and timelines for the filing and submission of any document, the payment of local taxes, fees, and other charges may be moved to a later date during public emergencies, provided that the period of the deadline extension should be based on the period of the public emergency and the extent of the adverse effect of the economic disruption. Provided further that the extension granted should only be within the year declared unless the original deadline falls during November or December. Section 4, authority to declare. This ordinance may be implemented through a declaration of the city by the issuance of any of the following documents. A, an executive order of the city mayor, or B, resolution of the Sangguniang Panlungsod during a public emergency as declared by the national government, the provincial government, or the city mayor, which disrupts the economic activity of the city for at least 15 days, provided that such document should indicate, first, the taxes or fees covered, second, the specific period of deadline extension, and third, the basis of the declaration. Section 5, the scope or coverage. The following local taxes, fees, and charges may be covered. A, real property tax, whether paid annually or quarterly. B, business taxes, whether paid annually, semi-annually, or quarterly. And rentals and other fees imposed in economic enterprises. Section 6, waiver. Surcharges, interests, and other penalties are necessarily waived during extended deadline of payment unless otherwise provided in the declaration of the city. Section 7, finally, discounts and other benefits. Originally imposed discounts or other benefits for prompt payment of local taxes, fees, and charges shall still be applicable unless otherwise provided in the declaration of the city. Honorable Presiding Officer, I submit to the body for discussion on second reading this proposed ordinance.
So what is the pleasure of the body? Any comments?
Seconded, but I would like to ask for certain clarification. I would like to be clarified from the proponent as to, with respect to the RPT, because the RPT taxes is, the deadline for the RPT is on March 31, March 30 of every year. What if the pandemic happened, or the epidemic, a health emergency happened, for example, in the middle of the year, or in the third quarter of the year? Will the effect of that declaration be retroactive? For example, so na rin papakabayan, June, May, March 30, pwede bang sabihin, ay, hindi na kasi, hindi man ang pandemic happen November or October. Pwede bang magbayadan ko na waray penalty, waray surcharges, waray interest?
Yes. The Committee Chair on Finance, go ahead.
Honorable Presiding Officer, pagdating ngayon nga mga emergency, medyo general naman aton gino-ordinansa because this is for future use. So under Section 3, second paragraph, nakabutang dito, at deadline extension, base tiyahit kung saan o madatangan ni public emergency, ngayon kung gaano kita kagrabe na apektuhan itong yung public emergency. So if the Sanggunian or the local government kumita hira nga at that time, bisa November na, feeling nila dapat lagi haptagan yung extension on March 31, then so be it. Pero this should have a basis, di ba? Makalawlaan na hira kung gaano nakagrabe ang hinabuha aton to the extent nga i-retroactive ta effect han pag the-extend ang deadline nga March 31 pa, November naman ang pandemic. So, parang this ordinance leaves to the current administration at that time nga may the public emergency kung ano't iya kumbaga wisdom kung saan o dapat it next deadline, kung gaano kaiha, and kung ano lang dapat tagan in extension. So waray kita ni paghatagin kuan in specific guidelines as to saan o hira dapat tagan in deadline. Except that may nga nasa rin nga the original deadline, it should be extension for kung 2020 iya, it may extension within 2020 la. Diba? Ayaw na katapag pa next year unless kumbaga aniya deadline nag-fall han November or December kay di ka na makaka-extend kung within this year natin gagalawan. So I hope that answers or that satisfies the query of Honorable Suyot.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Just another query. Is the waiver equivalent to a condonation?
That's a good question. Go ahead.
Honorable
Madam
Presiding
Cainday.
Officer, the waiver is not equivalent to a condonation, but the waiver, this Section 6, the waiver pertains only to surcharges, interests, and other penalties. It does not concern about the basic taxes. So, kasi necessarily, we're extending the deadline, ibig sabihin, di repahira, kumbaga prompt payment lang yan pera. But, again, may nakabatang date unless otherwise provided in the declaration. So, our executive officer or the Sangguniang Panlungsod during that public emergency can still say nga, sige, pwede lagap ka mo magbayad pero may dilagap yung penalty. Parang we leave to the wisdom, hitatan executive, hitatan local chief executive ng Sangguniang Panlungsod, pag-waivin hini or diri pag-waivin nga mga penalties, depende tira pag-assess sa sitwasyon.
Yes, go
Yes,
ahead.
because the effect of this that's why I asked the proponent, because the effect of this ordinance, once approved, third and final reading, is that the penalties, the waiver, the interest penalties that may accrue to a taxpayers within this year are all abrogated. They're all abrogated, including the RPT. Itong RPT, just for the information of this august body, there are requirements, criteria, as mentioned under the local government code, within which we can condone, we can waive penalty, interest, and surcharges. At na dapat konteran, agricultural at effect and agricultural production, dapat ibabutang yan. Kumpira ko, 30% na lang, kumbaga 70% ang agricultural production affected, or 80% nakabutang kasi ito niya dito. But nonetheless, that is just an observation, but not an objection, Mr. President.
Just to clarify the matter, actually, we are in the works of assessing our fair market value, and we have already discussed actually with our assessor, kapag hatag puntahin amnesty, itatan real property taxes para ma-encourage yung mga tao magbayad. And we know nga kailangan may certain declarations laanay before we can condone these basic taxes. But as to the penalties and surcharges, I think we have the power to condone this. It's not really condonation we're not talking about the basic tax. We're only talking about the penalties and charges, which are not really due unless you do not pay within the deadline. So, di rin talaga niya, kumbaga, di rin niya basic tax. These are just penalties. So, what the ordinance is trying to say, kaya syempre, nag-extend ka nga ng deadline, ibig sabihin, tinataga namin grace period. So, during that grace period, you do not impose interest or surcharges, but you may, pero you have to specifically state. Kumbaga, the general rule, pag nag-extend ka, warahin kuan, wala penalties and deadlines, wala penalties and charges, based on this ordinance.
Can be clarified by the proponent with respect to the coverage of the declaration. Will it likewise suffice? For example, the City Development Council or the City Disaster and Risk Reduction Council would recommend to the Sangguniang to declare the city under a state of calamity. For example, there is a typhoon. Would that scenario qualify for this ordinance to take effect?
Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to refer Honorable Suyot to the definition of public emergency under this ordinance on Section 2. So this refers to calamities or incidents or disasters that would disrupt the normal operations of the city, resulting to a loss of opportunity to earn or a need to spend for additional goods or services in preparation or in response to an emergency. So, diri nga tanan nga calamity or public emergency nga at pagdadaanan, magiging pwede kitahin mag-granting extension. Kagalawan talaanay kung nawawaraan ba it mga tawohin tsansa nga magpakabuhi. So, gaya nga COVID pandemic, ginpa-close na hira. So, nawaraan hirahin tsansa magpakabuhi. And we also look into the proviso under Section 4 nga may the disruption hit letter B. Nga itsang gunian, pwede mag-declare through a resolution paghatag tax deadline extension kung may the declaration in public emergency, national government, provincial government, and city government nga nakaka-disrupt at economic activity for at least 15 days. Kaya kung di ba, nasa sarili kong bagyo, dahil hindi kita nakapag-abrehin 3 days, kinalilinis pa. O kaya kung may something nga, may nila na bunga diri maupay, dali ka din nakapag-abre, but not too long, para makasaring ka nga sobra-sobra nawawara yung tao. But if tagpi 15 days na hiya, parang I think sobra na hiya para diri kita humataghin relief kung bakit atan taxpayers.
So not all declaration of state of calamity will qualify.
Yes.
It
will depend on the wisdom of the local government.
Ano ba ito rin? Itiya ba kinahanglan pareho yung sitwasyon han Yolanda, pareho yung sitwasyon han hindi yan ang COVID-19, diri yasugad ang sitwasyon han Ursula, di yasugad nga kuhanan Tisoy, just like Tisoy, when Tisoy lambasted the province of Mr. Samar, I think nakaan ko natin ekonomiya, but ito proportion ba? Para lang klarado ang nawabati, para kunti ang bilera, klarado ay lang. Kasi kinahanglan natin i-discuss ito dito.
Based in the ordinance, diri hiya automatic nga nag-apply. So una, makalawlan, mamamadala ni Hira or magpapasabot itatin mayor, either kung mag-executive order hiya, nga nag-i-implementa rin hiya nga may tax extension deadline. O kaya, mahatagad sanggunian yung resolution nga nagkakamit ng tax extension deadline. Yan na kay dita man nga tanan yung public emergency na foresee, di ba? Kay dita hiya kaya di makataparang tigo. So, gintagantahin liway la, current nga administration dito nga panahon, nga maghiya at magsukol kung gaano kaihait i-extension, gaano nga klase ng taxes at iya ipapa-extend, gaano ka kung mag-waive via penalties or surcharges. Kumbaga, enough power para nakapuruko, may na niya basihan paghatag suga kaihang extension or suga la kahalipot nga extension. So, diri niya, wala niya specific kuan, wala niya specific limit. But we already, parang this is, parang ang naging basis actually is parang nga na ating pandemic. Gamay na posibilidad nga mahina bunga sugad. So, we are talking about, tutuwad ang sinasabi ni Atty. Suyot, nga atin din i-restoryahan din diri lang mga normal nga natural calamities na nga typhoon. But, public emergency, nga hikita, bisan itanan trabaho, that businessmen, diri nakapag-abre o di nakapag-trabaho because of this public emergency.
Yes, go ahead.
No further question, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you, Suyot. Any other questions, clarifications from the Committee Chair on Finance?
Mr. Presiding Officer, taklan
Yes.
pagkaintindi siguro, pagpahali ko. Ining ordinance, resign nga tumbanan na wala para mag-grant in tax incentives to business establishment to Resident Borongan, hit nga tanan nga mga
Kalamidad.
Bahala na ito executive mag-implementa rin ni kung iya dapat i-implement.
Again, in my understanding is that this is not self-executory, and this will depend on the type of declaration.
Yes.
Because as said earlier by the proponent, not all declaration can qualify for the implementation of this ordinance.
Yes, exactly.
And this is also parang in request kasi based on meetings and previously, we were being parang pressured to release a resolution granting tax exemption when we very well know that a resolution is only an expression of the sentiment and opinion of this body. So this has no power. So in our case, para next time, kung nagpa-pressure kita hinira, we already have an ordinance in place which we can, kumbaga sa pa ni Atty. Escuto, at ang tambanan. But still, may nakuha na may katambanan pag-declare niya resolution and may nito naman pasihan kay there will be a declaration by the national government, provincial or city mayor nga may data talaga din inaapat na diri maupay.
Okay, so any more questions? None? So the Committee Chair on Finance?
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we
Second reading.
approve this ordinance institutionalizing the granting of tax payment deadline extension during public emergencies which adversely affects the economic activities of the city of Borongan on second reading.
Any second? Any objections? Further discussions? None. So the motion of Honorable Cainday is hereby approved
On second reading.
on second reading.
And
Yes, go ahead.
finally, Honorable Presiding Officer, since there's also an urgency to pass this kind of ordinance, I move that we pass and approve this ordinance institutionalizing the grant of tax payment deadline extension during public emergencies on third and final reading.
Any second? Any objections? Further discussions? None. So the proposed ordinance granting the extension of taxes in the city of Borongan is hereby approved on third and final reading. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Under other matters, we have the call Mrs. Tilo Banal to provide.
Yes, good, Honorable. Sorry?
Oh,
It's not.
approve
Yes.
this.
Oh, yes. Institutionalized. Noted. Thank you. Say, go ahead, Mr. Secretary.
Other matters, call Mrs. Tilo Banal, CSWDO, to provide an update regarding the social amelioration program and to respond to possible queries regarding the other relevant programs and activities of the city social welfare office.
The Honorable Daza.
Yes po. Ma'am Talma Banal has called my attention that they are busy po in distribution of the SAP. Kasi up to April 30 na lang po itira deadline para mo distributin mga barangay. Kasi naaro yan pasensya, itong sanggunian, at ilan na yung mga katen dyan na.
Okay, that's noted. Next agenda.
Okay.
So we, Mr. Secretary, kindly take note that we invite the CSWDO on our next session.
Noted.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, go ahead, Honorable Ador.
did Ma'am Tilma give any reason for
The Honorable Daza.
Kanan SAP po.
Okay.
Social
Noted,
amelioration.
noted.
We will invite them next session on Wednesday. Okay, so next. Yes, go ahead, Honorable Limbauan.
I just have a manifestation. Kasi actually, additional to calling our CSWDO to give us an update regarding the social amelioration, I just want to inform this August body nga. Yesterday, I sent a letter to the CSWDO to requesting that they give me an explanation, written letter regarding the incident happened last April 22, 2020. Just a short background para marami ito natin August body kay last April 22, 2020 I requested a soft copy file from their office one-time grant nga payroll. But then the CSWD office denied my request kay ang file ko no corrupted. So waray nakipagpirit kan Miss Ador. But then it has come to my attention just the next day nga when the treasurer's office in behalf of our city mayor, when they requested the same file, the CSWD did not even hesitate or waray man la pagsumat nga if the file was corrupted. Just to guys,
I would like to acknowledge the presence of our city mayor. Mayor, thank you for gracing our regular session. Yes, go ahead.
So yun nga, the next day, it has come to my attention na when the treasurer's office requested the same file, they did not hesitate to give the file. They even requested for the email right away kay masasend nila. And syempre, kamo, if you were in my position, how would you feel nga? I requested the file first, tapos they denied my request kay corrupted ko, no? They didn't even reach out nga they will just provide a copy or any. Pero yun nga, I just want also to inform the August body nga, siguro for the past few months nga, pag trinabaho ko as the chairman on social welfare, ginid ako yung naging bulighan CSWD regarding anakan mga legislations as the chair on social welfare committee. Pero there were also several times nga I felt parang wala ko kakukuhaan respect nga feeling ko I deserve naman. I just I kept silent kay ginhatag ko ini nga benefit of the doubt haira kay siguro direct nila inimin ko na ano man anak na feel as the chairman ng social welfare. But then siguro at nga incident nga happened on April 22, siguro that was the tipping point na I think I felt I needed to speak up kung ano man anak na feel as the chairman kay parang nakaka-affect na kung ano man ito na akong legislations nga ginihimo. Pero karikula naman i-clarify nga adto nga letter nga akong ginsend nga I wanted for a written explanation addressed directly to Miss Ador. It was addressed to the office of the CSWD in general kay hiramang galitakan hin ka istorya from time to time kay siya magitak kapot nga committee. Kare ko lang sana hit mga future na mga dealings sana naman di rin nira i-take for I don't know kay siguro ba na kukuanan hira nga masyado pakbata or rookie legislator pero I think the August Bali naman can attest nga I'm doing my best to do my job as the chairman ng social welfare. So ganun niya na nga nangyari nga I did parang we called Mrs. Banal but they didn't even tell me parang diri ako yung inform kung kay anong diri makakanhi. How would you feel kay ikaw may chairman? Wala, I mean, kung pagala mga sentiments nga sabi ko nga, I've been silent all these times. Nga siguro kailangan ko na mag-speak up para may baruhira ko na anong takon nafe-feel towards working with them. Honorable Presiding Officer, I just want to let them know nga this is what I feel and sana maging mas maupay na ito namang relationship kasi we both are just working for the good and for the good of our constituents. That's all.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead, Honorable Ador.
I am with the manifestation of Honorable Limbauan. I observe that the office of the DSWD is not very cooperative to this August body. Well, even if we call them or we send them a notice to appear, they decline. Maybe there is something wrong. But I just want to manifest that we should do something otherwise for this.
The Honorable Sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Presiding Officer. I understand the sentiment of our Chair Committee on Social Services. And in support there too, because we are currently facing this reality that we might not be able to provide the social amelioration to all qualified personnel within the city of Borongan. I would like to suggest that we pass a resolution requesting for additional funding from the DSWD so at least we can provide all qualified person within the city of Borongan the social amelioration that is being provided by the national government. And I would like to yield the passage of that resolution to the Chairman Committee on Social Services.
Mr. Chair, I support the opinion of Honorable Sawyer.
Yeah, actually, this is not just. I think this is not just a disrespect to the Honorable Limbauan, but this is a disrespect directly to the office of the Sangguniang Panlungsod. So if age is not an excuse if they cannot, if they cannot respect the person, respect the position naman lang. So Mr. Secretary, let this be put on record that we invite the CSWDO and Mrs. Ador next session for further explanation. Yes, go ahead, Honorable Cainday.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I would also just like to express my support to Honorable Limbauan. I am parang a direct what do you call this? I can testify directly as to the efforts that she is exerting in order to reach out to our CSWDO. And I would just like also to parang reassure the manitatan ko ni Honorable Limbauan nga ako, and I know this August body is in full support ito yung cause niya na. And for sure, we will not parang let this go nga waray ta ginihimo nga something para dirigad nga parang to oppress someone, but at least to let them know that as what the Honorable Presiding Officer has just stated, that they should respect the position that we are in, that even if siguro no one will be perfect and we will not be able to please everyone, but there are certain protocols nga dapat diri nila naman binabari, and there is a certain respect as how we respect also their office when they are doing their job properly. So I hope nga parang this becomes also a parang testimony naman at ating ibang kadil nga sana even if you see nga parang pala kamihin mga bata, do not take us for granted and do not take lightly tamang position niya din dadara nga kinakaptan, because we do not mean to like just give you instructions for the purpose of giving you instructions, but we have a vision for Borongan City, and maybe you do not believe in it, but what I think mahimo because the people elected us in this position, and if you do not respect us, then you do not respect the wish of the people. So I hope this August body will be more proactive in kumbaga manifesting or telling this August body kung may data kumbaga diri inaabat nga maupay nga pagtaraha aton, because para mahimuan tahin paraan kung paano tayo niya masusolusyonan. We should not be bullied just because we are not siguro that of age than other people. As long as we are doing our jobs and we are not oppressing other people, then I think dapat damit nila irespeto itat posisyon naman la. So thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Exactly. Yes, go ahead, Honorable Agda.
I would also have a little manifestation. I don't want this problem pass by without little manifestation in support of Kagawad Limbauan, because I am a little bit, I feel a little bit guilty because I was the one in the first place who had pushed Kagawad Limbauan to call up the attention of the Office of the Social Welfare Office regarding the one-time grant to senior citizens. And at this start, she was posing a problem na wala na huya pabaliha. So, for the last time, I told her, let us request nga kumanhinga dito ng mga tao. At that instant, they came here. But then, kinanhinga, nasolbar natin ang talaga yung mga problema. I don't think sana punta mawala na ang the gap between the one, kaya nag-agree naman ang mga one. So it appears now nga nag-continue ni gap. So I am in full support of the moves of Kagawad Limbauan kasi talaga nawarang hira ang kalanganan na ito nga one time social pension nga nalalangan na yung maiha at the time nga mag-pull up ang pagkanihan mga taga-DSWD people nga senior citizens na natambal ang problema. The only thing there nga nakita na mo kaya na nag-continue ang problema, so we have to solve this really.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
in addition to this,
ABC President.
it seems to me that the head of the DSWD does not give respect to this August body. I suggest that if she will fail to come,
Next
we send her a subpoena because we are authorized to have
Yes,
subpoena.
exactly.
If she will not,
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they are really busy right now with the social amelioration program. So let's see if she came on our next session.
Before,
Yes, go ahead, Honorable Scotto.
I just like to ask, because our city mayor is around. tipakya na lang kung bangin may lasugo ni Mayor kan because he is under his executive.
Diri man la yan na.
Actually, an consentiment sila. It was in general, not just about the today nga. Okay.
Yes, go ahead. Honorable, I'm sorry, leader. Yeah. Sige.
Honorable Presiding Officer, since we are graced with the presence of our Honorable Mayor, I move that we lift our internal rules of procedure so that we can have a discussion during this session.
Second the motion.
Any objections? None. So our internal rules is hereby temporarily suspended.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Actually, while I was sitting at the back listening to the manifestation of Honorable Lyra Limbauan, with all honesty, I am with her because I used to be a councilor before at a very young age. And it is really insulting if any government employee of our city will not respect our elected officials. Ngan with the question of Manu Glenn, waray ko sugo hayara, iton nga panhatag it social amelioration, it is a normal thing. Pero pwede tiya pwede maging excuse, pwede lang tiya kumanhi pag-explain because the letter of Honorable Limbauan was serious. To me, it was insubordination to duly elected officials, especially that she is the chair of the Committee on Social Welfare in the August body, and it is her right to know about the records. Mr. Chair, we are painstakingly promoting transparency in our governance, and then some of our employees is not that cooperative or whatever. Bisagay kung ano't ibang kalibangan, pinakakalibangan gayt, opisyal man itagpapatawag, opisyal may nangangaro.